Greetings from the How to Linux Research Labs. My name is Paul, and I am the head researcher at the labs. Okay, so today I'm gonna show you how to install and configure Hamachi in Ubuntu Linux 22.04. Okay, let's get started. Okay, access your computer from anywhere. Alright, that's what Hamachi does. Let me give you a little bit of quick background on Hamachi. LogMe in Hamachi is a zero configuration VPN that works with your existing firewall and allows you to access your computer no matter where you are, as long as there's an internet connection. While there is a nice interface for the Windows version, Linux users can only access Hamachi via the command line interface, the CLI. Nevertheless, with some help from the open source community, Linux users can now easily install, configure, and use Hamachi. And this tutorial demonstrates the process for Ubuntu Linux 22.04. Okay. So basically a little bit background of how Hamachi works real quick. At its core, Hamachi is a proprietary VPN adapter that provides a virtual LAN, a VLAN, through an overlay network. Unlike traditional VPNs such as Nord and a couple others, Hamachi does not route any internet traffic in and out of its servers. And that might be a little bit of a eye-raising proposition there, right? Instead, it allows you to create a secure, closed LAN between different computers, as Hamachi is useful in instances where you want to share a network service without exposing your host computer. For example, you can use it to start an SFTP server and share its contents only to a select few computers. This virtual LAN approach also allows you to use Hamachi for both peer-to-peer and local server gaming, making Hamachi invaluable for users who want to play games on Linux over the internet without porting forward their connections. Okay, so the first step is installing Hamachi on Ubuntu. And the first step we're going to do is download Hamachi's .deb package from their website with the following command. And we're going to have to do this because the Hamachi client software does not exist in Ubuntu software repos. Okay, so the first step is to key in this command here using the wget utility, which downloads files from the internet in the command line. And if you don't have it, you should have it. So type in wget into your prompt, enter on that. If it's there, fine. If it's not, you can use your apt package manager, and it would be a simple sudo apt install wget command to install that utility. Okay, so once you have wget installed, you can go ahead and use it to pass this URL to it, so it'll download the deb file from this URL for Hamachi. Okay, so once you have that, see, we're going to download version 2.1.0, a deb file. So once you've keyed that in, enter on that, and that was pretty quick. See, everything here was saved. Okay, we'll clear on that. Now I expect to find it in my download folder. So we'll go into the download folder and we'll look for the deb file there. And it was a VPN Hamachi. Okay, yeah, I forgot that the wget will download it to its default location will be your home folder, not the download folder. the download folder is the default location for your browsers usually, but for wget, don't look for it in your download folder. It'll probably be in your home folder, which that's where it was for me here, right here. So since I like to keep things, organized and neat and clean, I'm going to go ahead and use the mv command, and I'm going to move that deb file from the home directory into the home download folder here. The tilde is for home, and then the download folder is a subfolder of that. So I'm going to move it to downloads, just to keep things not scattered all over the file system. Okay, now it's in the download folder. Now we can go ahead and cd into the download folder, and we can look for it here. And there it is right there. Okay, good. We're all set for the next. Okay, so we downloaded the deb file, and we moved it to where we want to, to the download folder to keep things organized. Now we can go ahead and install it. Okay, I'm going to use the GDebi utility, installation utility, to install the Hamachi package. GDebi is good because it resolves dependencies, whereas I believe something like dpackage might not. Then you have to hunt those down manually. So I like to use GDebi because it resolves your dependencies all in one swoop. So into a sudo session, I'm going to use GDebi, and I'm going to pass in that deb file to GDebi and have GDebi install the Hamachi package. So once all that's keyed in, enter on that. Oh, didn't spell it right. So we'll back on that. Okay, now it should work. Okay, GDebi, enter on that, and let GDebi do its thing. Okay, you have to read some stuff here, little information here. Do you want to install the software package? Yes, I do. Y on that, enter. And that was pretty quick. Let's take a quick look here and any messages that are relevant or important. Nope, looks like the 2.1 was installed. And everything looks good here. Success. Okay, good. It's installed. So I'll clear on that. Go back to my home folder. Clear the slate one more time. And let's check whether we have or that I have, or I'll check on my end, you can check on your end. Let's check to see if we have properly installed Hamachi by running this command here, sudo Okay, I auto-completed it. I typed in a couple of characters and then I hit tab. I auto-completed it. That means it's on the path, so it should be fine once we key in the full command here. Sudo Hamachi help. You can also do version. I like to do version as well. I'm not sure if Hamachi has actually a version flag, -v, -v, capital V, -version, whatever. But this is a verification that we have properly installed Hamachi package on Ubuntu, and we can move on to the next step. Okay, the next step is we're going to start setting up Hamachi on our. We've installed it, and we're going to start configuring Hamachi on our Ubuntu machine. And to do that, we have to configure we're going to configure the program because it requires us to have a valid Hamachi account, which I have. And you can sign up for it from their main page here. Hamachi, actually it's vpn.net, but it's Hamachi, you can see here. So once you get here, I've already done it. We can go here to I've already signed up, so I don't need to sign up again. I'm going to click on the login link here, and it'll take me to their dashboard. And you can see it's my name, and in the dashboard I'm logged into the dashboard, okay? And you have to do this because Hamachi needs a valid Hamachi account to link to. So I've done that part. Go ahead and do that. And then once you have a valid account here in the browser, then you can use Hamachi on the command line interface, the CLI, to connect to the dashboard network. or actually it's called the Log Me In network, or the Hamachi network. So once you've done this part here, you can minimize on that, go back to the command line, and key in this command here. See, I'm only going to type in a couple of characters here, and then just tab it, and it auto completes it because it's on the path. And then we're gonna do the login here, and we're gonna log in from our local machine to the remote server. Okay, that took a few moments, not that long. So once you've logged in to your Hamachi network from the command line with this command here, and you get the OK here, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a new Hamachi network from the command line. And this is the example that I just did right now. And I run this command here to create a new network. So you want to use this command here, sudo hamachi create. This is your network name. I chose Paul Arman Network, and then a space, and then password for that. So once you've got these all keyed in, enter on that, and then it'll say creating the Paul Arman Network, and it's okay. So we've created a new network on the Hamachi network. And so with the network up and running, we can use the Hamachi command line interface to connect two machines. And we're going to install Hamachi on a separate computer and use the join command. So once you have the network set up on another machine, so yeah, with our network up and running, which we have it up and running, we can use the Hamachi command line interface to connect two machines. So on my other machine, which is a Pop! OS Linux machine, I installed Hamachi on there, same process as we just did on Ubuntu, and I ran a separate command over there to join my Pop machine to the network I just created, the Paul Arman network that I created on the Ubuntu over here. And it connected. It joined, and I'm connected into the... I can't show you because I'm on a different screen, but it does say that I was able to join the Paul Arman network from the Pop machine to the Ubuntu machine. Now there's also other commands to use with Hamachi in the command line to evict and delete these networks, and you could probably get to those by looking at the I guess it would be the help page here, some of the usage here on how to evict, delete, and whatnot. So this is a good place to come. This is like the manual here. Hamachi Help is the manual to learn about the command line, not the command itself, but how to use the base command here with these specific flags and options that you could pass to it to get information from the Hamachi running instance here. Okay, so we're clear on that. And you can also manage the Hamachi network, or whatever Hamachi network you create, with a GUI desktop client, and it's a little different from Hamachi. Hamachi is obviously spelled Hamachi, Hamachi, and the GUI program is actually called Haguichi, Haguichi. So I would say like Haguki or something like that. But so it's a GUI essentially. Yeah. So aside from directly using the command line, it is possible to use Haguki to create and manage a Hamachi network in a GUI as opposed to the CLI. And now this third-party GUI wraps around the Hamachi CLI client and presents its functions in a desktop window, which is useful if you are a new user to Linux and still not comfortable using the Bash terminal to interact with programs in the command line interface. So I'm going to show you how to install the Haguichi Haguichi. It's hard to pronounce. A GUI, and we're going to follow the steps on how to do that on our Ubuntu machine here. Okay, so the first step we have to do to add to be able to install the Haguichi GUI desktop client for the Hamachi network is to add this PPA to our repo list. It's probably a PPA, personal package archive, probably because it's not available in the official repos. So we're going to have to go kind of outside the official channels and install this PPA here. So sudo, and we're going to use this command, this chained command here, and we're going to add this PPA repo to apt cache. So once you key all that in, enter on that, and there should be, once it's all done, there should be a new entry in our sources list relating to this this URL here. So let's wait for it to add it to the repo list. Actually, we can take a look right now, I think. Let's see what looks like it's relating to that. Yeah, okay, here it is down here. There's a couple of entries here. These weren't here before. These three here looks like. And it's from the Launchpad, which hosts Ubuntu repos, I believe. And if it's coming from Launchpad, I'm not sure why we need a PPA. I thought PPAs, Launchpads were only for official Ubuntu packages. Either way, you can see the three new entries that we have here, and it covers Jammy. So these three are added here, and then we're good to go. So we've added the PPA, and now we can install that desktop client using that PPA repo. So we're clear on that and get ready for the next step. Okay, the next step, as usual, once you add a new repo to your repo list, is to run the standard apt update and apt upgrade command. That way the apt cache will become updated with the new repo, so we can use apt to install whatever program we want to install from whatever repo we have in our sources list. Okay, so we'll do a standard update. It's not so much upgrading. I think you probably don't need the second part here. I think you just need the first part here, so you can update the apt cache. I just do the whole thing just to cover all the bases. But I think if you just did it with apt, you'd be able to. You're doing what you need to do to update the apt cache to work with the that new PPA repo list, that repo URL that we added to our sources list here. Okay, so once we've done all that, okay, we're good. We're all zeroed out at the bottom. Okay, that's good. Clear on that, and we'll just keep the video rolling here, and we'll key in the next command. We're going to use apt, a standard apt install command, and we're going to install that GUI program, which is this one right here. Now, I don't know how you pronounce that. I think it's Haguichi. It's kind of hard to really. Even the other one was a little bit hard. Hamachi. I think that was right. This one's a little bit harder. I'm pretty sure this is Kai here at the end. Haguichi. Anyway, you can pronounce which way is right for you. It's kind of a hard one. Okay, so once you key that this line in here, go ahead and enter on that, and wait for the download and install the package. Looks like it's going pretty quick here. I think it's going to be okay. Yep, got to the empty. Okay, that's fine. We've installed that desktop client, so we'll clear on that, and on to the next step. Okay, we installed that desktop client. Now, before we can actually run it, we're going to have to find it. Now, I'm going to just try to find it in my application drawer here. So I'll click on that, and I'll come all the way over to the last section here, and there it is. Okay, good. and we'll click on that, wait for the window to open, and then on to the next step. Okay, so I guess you can just leave the video here for a minute here. Okay, so we found it, and a window will open, which it did. It'll open for you too, hopefully, and it'll ask you to configure your Hamachi client. Okay, here we're going to press the green configure button to proceed to the next step. You can read here that it's not configured, and we have to configure Hamachi before we can connect. Okay, fine. So we'll click on the green there, and I'll authenticate in here. Okay, good. You can see we've logged in. Everything looks good here. Okay, good. Okay, on to the next step. Okay, the Haguichi GUI, which is what we're in here. Once you've done that, once you've clicked on that green button to configure your system, it will create an account for your machine and display that info about the current Hamachi version on your system. Remember, we did Hamachi and it was 2.1. Yep, that's right. Don't know about that. And then Paul, okay, and then the IP address, and we don't need the IP6, just the IP4 here for our network service there. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to connect now. Okay, so once we have the GUI up and running, and this is the network that we did before, Paul Armin network. You get some information here in the side panel. Okay, let's see how this GUI works as far as creating a network like we did in the command line before. You can do that by clicking this plus here, this plus button here. We're not going to join anything because I can't show you what I can on another machine to join the other machine. So we're just going to create another network on this machine like we did in the command line before. And we're going to just give it a different name. I'll just give it a slightly different name. I'll call it the Paul Armin 1 network. A little different from the Armin here. Paul Armin 1. And then tab down to the password field. Key in password there. Okay, that's what we did last time in the command line. And we're just going to go ahead and click on the create button here. And we're going to create a new network. Okay, good. That adds it to our list here. Paul Armin 1. Okay, so we added that. We added another network in the GUI here in the GUI program, the same way we did when we were in the command line before. So that was it. We created a new network that way. We gave it a different name, and I gave it a password, and we created a new network. Okay, on to the next step. So once we've installed this desktop GUI here on the Ubuntu machine, and we use this section, this plus key button here to create a new network, then on your other machines you can install this GUI as well and click join, and you can join this network that you created here from the other machine. Or you can join from the other machine to this network via the command line. So you see it works both ways. You have the command line on either side on the machine that you're working on, and on the remote machine to connect or to create or connect, whatever, either way, in the command line or in the GUI. So just put both things on either machine, and then connect as appropriately from whatever machine you need to connect from or connect to. Okay. Now a couple of FAQs that we'll go over real quick. Is it possible to install Haguichi on non-Ubuntu systems? The answer is yes. While Haguichi is primarily available for Ubuntu, for Debian and Ubuntu derivatives, it's also possible to install this program on other Linux distros as well. For example, you can run sudo DNF COPR to install it on a Fedora distro, and you can also use Haguichi in a Flatpak. So if you go to FlatHub, is it flathub.org, to their FlatHub, the Flatpak hub on the web, you could probably find it there as well. So there's a couple different. So it's not just on one distro family and in one format. So you can do RPMs probably, or you can use DNF on a Fedora, and it will just install it that way. And you can also go to the Flatpak hub on the internet, and download it from there. Let me show you that really quick. I guess you can also go to FlatHub. You go to Flatpak first, and there's flatpak.org, and there's also I believe a FlatHub as well. Yeah, FlatHub. So if you go to FlatHub here, then you can browse around for that Haguichi or Hamachi package here and install it this way, or you can have a Flatpak in your command line and install it that way as well. Okay, another question is people have other questions that they've. Here, let me leave this up here. Okay, some people have had problems where they can't include the Haguichi PPA in their system, which is what we did when we added the PPA URL, repo URL to our apt cache. Well, this most likely happens due to an issue between your ISP and your machine's IP version 6 resolver. By default, the Ubuntu Launchpad PPA system uses IP version 6 when adding and removing repos, which means that Ubuntu will use IP version 6. Whether or not your network connection can support or not is a different story. Now, this connection mismatch can be an issue if your current provider, your current ISP, does not support IP version 6. And to fix this, there's a way to disable that, and we can't get into that right now, but there's a way to disable that problem to force Ubuntu to route every connection it makes to IPv4 instead. And last question, is it possible to manage your Hamachi clients outside of your Ubuntu machine? Yes, it is possible using the attach-net command along with your logmein email address. So that there's a way to do that as well, and then that way you could hold on. Okay, yeah. So if you want to manage your Hamachi clients outside of your main machine, in this case it would be the Ubuntu machine, you'd have to use this command here. On your Ubuntu machine, you type in this right here, and you'll be able to manage your clients outside of this machine. Actually, I was wrong. This command should go into your. This command should be entered into the command line on other machines other than your main machine. So when your main machine is down, in this case it would be the Ubuntu machine. So if this is down, so once you key this into other machines, if the Ubuntu machine is down, you can still manage all your Hamachi networks that you created on this machine through your Hamachi account. So on the other machines, you would key this in here and then validate with your email address that you used when you created your Hamachi account, and that will allow you to remotely manage those networks even if your main machine is offline. Okay, so that was a lot to take in. I hope you enjoyed it. So that was how to install and configure Hamachi VPN. command line method and GUI method on Ubuntu Linux 22.04. Let me back this out here, and I'll leave you with the dashboard here. So yeah, that was how to install Hamachi on Ubuntu Linux 22.04. And I look so thank you for watching, and I look forward to your comments and your feedback. And let me minimize that. Leave you with the Ubuntu desktop there. And thank you for watching. I look forward to your comments and your feedback. And goodbye for now until my next video from the How to Linux channel. Thank you.